Yes, it's PSG 4, Atletico Madrid 0. Taking a look at what that means in the group. Obviously quite the statement from PSG. Later tonight, Botafogo taking on Seattle Sounders in the other game. For more on this, for some reason they're dressed alike. I've no idea why. Frank Leboeuf joins us, as does Julien Laurent. Jules, back like you never left.
Yeah, and PSG as impressive as they showed in 2025, really. It was a game that was probably over at halftime. They were very dominant, very good with the ball, controlling the pace of the game. The kickoff was at 12 on the West Coast, so really early. It was already very hot. And considering they had 0 holidays for most of that squad, really, since the season ended domestically, I thought they showed really good resilience and physicality in the first half. The second half was under control anyway, but the first half I thought was really impressive.
Were you surprised how good they were, Frank?
Well, I was surprised because I thought, because winning of the Champions League and winning everything in a domestic way would have allowed them to enjoy and to celebrate it. But I have to say, as Jules mentioned, they played at noon on the West Coast, very, very high temperature, and they did the job. They were fit, they were sharp, in very good shape, and showed a lot of seriousness in their job. So I was very impressed with their performances, and they've been absolutely good. They've been the champion that they showed when they won the Champions League. Their level didn't drop at all.
Big contributing factor, Shaka, as to whether or not this competition will be a success will people turn out and watch it?
Yeah.
And how seriously are these teams going to take it? Well, I'll tell you what, PSG putting out this lineup sets a statement, doesn't it? And for a neutral's point of view, it's got to be great for this tournament.
Without question. Listen, I had a whole lot of cynicism around this tournament, yet so far, to your point, Dan, we've seen good crowds, we've seen impressive games of football, and I'll double down on what both Jules and Frank said, certainly about PSG. They looked incredibly good against Atletico Madrid. Now, maybe you could make the argument that Atleti could have turned it up a gear. We can't really see exactly how they're approaching this.
No, I think they're approaching it seriously, Shaq. I think out of the teams that are in,
right,
I don't know why you're trying to discredit this PSG victory.
No.
That's what it sounds like.
No, but that's because you cut me off, Dan. What my point here is, as good as PSG looked, or as dominant as PSG looked against Atletico Madrid, maybe Atleti could have taken it up a gear, but I don't think there's any doubt that PSG could have done the same. And that for me is as Frank was pointing out, kind of given how PSG finished this season, you wondered if they come into this tournament and think, well, we have to build up a little bit slowly. But there was no real sign that PSG let their levels drop. As I said, you probably could make a better argument that they could take it up a gear. And that's kind of speaking to how good PSG has been all calendar year long. And credit to them, credit to Luis Enrique and their approach to this tournament, because that, for me, was some performance. Atleti were better in the second half, but still, even being better, PSG never really lost control.
It was interesting, wasn't it, looking at the bookies ahead of this, Jules? Manchester City, Real Madrid, I think were both ahead of PSG, and you kind of think, well, this is a team that just won the Champions League at a canter, and they've put out a statement once again today, really, saying we are the team to beat in this tournament.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, today there was no Ousmane Dembele, for example, who arguably is this team's best player, and even without him, Gonzalo Ramos is a different profile, different type of number 9, of course, but you saw how well he linked up the play, how important it could have been when he could hold off the ball, and that worked well. But they would have been better with Dembele in the team too. So the fact that maybe they just kept playing between the end of the Ligue 1 season, then they had the French Cup final that they won the weekend after, then the weekend after the Champions League final, then pretty much all their players went away on international duties with their national teams. And then straight from the national duty to the US, they arrived on Tuesday for this competition. So there have been no holidays. Some other teams that are in the competition that you mentioned, Bayern, Real Madrid, yes, some of the players also played during the international break. But before that, some of them had 2 weeks off. Some of them already had been on holidays with, keeping fit, of course, and not just having barbecues every day, but still, they had a bit of a break. This PSG team didn't. And we were wondering on Friday on the show, would they be tired? Would they be a bit overwhelmed by everything? Would they be mentally fresh enough to go again under the heat at noon, etc., etc.? And I think they showed today that they are ready. And whoever will beat them, if somebody beats them in this competition, they will have to be very good.
Start the tournament in quite some style. 31 shots, 17 of them on target. Auckland City just with that one shot, and you can just see how seriously Vincent Kompany was taking this game. A strong starting 11 from the German champions. He was speaking afterwards saying, well, we wanted to run up a score because goal difference might be important. Jules and Frank are still with us. Frank, as a former pro, do you have any problems with this?
About what? Winning 10-0?
Yeah.
And about Olise comment? Well, you know what? No, it is called respect. I mean, it's what we do when we are professional players. If you let the game go because you have some sympathy and you don't want to, how do you say that? Will put shame on the opponent's shoulder. I think you have to do your job. And your job as a professional player is to score goals when you have to score goals. And we all know that. That's an internal rule. If you have to finish an opponent, you will finish it. And I won 10-0 against Azerbaijan with the national team. You have no thoughts whatsoever about, oh no, we should calm down. No, you do the job because you respect the opponent.
This was always going to be an issue within this competition, though, wasn't it, Jules?
Yeah, that's right. Again, we knew this was coming, especially in this game, because Auckland, to be fair, amongst all the teams, are the only one who are not fully professional. So all the players have another job. They're all right now on annual leave to be able to play in this World Cup. Some players could not even travel because they could not take time off their usual, their main work, really. So this was always going to be difficult. And then they play Benfica and they play Boca. And they probably will not score a goal in this competition. I mean, they had 5 touches in the Bayern box today, which it was 5 more than I expected, to be honest. I thought they would not even come close to the box. But 5 touches, 1 shot far away from goal, and a very low XG, but still 1 shot on target. At least they can have that. But yeah, they're going to get probably destroyed against Benfica and Boca as well. But this is also part of it. If you open this competition to the whole world, then you need the Champions League winner for this part of the world, and it's them, and hopefully this experience will make them better, but it was always going to be a very long shot.
It's interesting, the goalkeeper was talking about having to take leave from work. Yeah. He was saying, like, how many times in your life do you get the chance to play Boca, Benfica, and Bayern Munich?
For a number of these players, it's probably a dream just to see them play, see some of these teams play just as a fan. Then to strip off and put your strip on and play against them on the same day. And listen, for them, it's not about the scoreline. It's about the occasion. It's about kind of living some of those boyhood dreams of playing against the best in world football. And at least they're able to say that. As everybody kind of alluded to, this scoreline was probably predicted. It doesn't embarrass Auckland any. These players will leave this tournament at least with something to remember, kind of given the opponents and the fact that they were there.
Just take a look at what that means in the group. Obviously, the opening game, Bayern Munich, we're always going to be the team to beat. Boca against Benfica on Monday should be a lot of fun.
Yes, of course.
These days. 0-0 then is how it finished. Taking a look at how Group A is shaping up. Porto against Palmeiras is the game tonight. More on that in a moment, actually. So we see how Ahly and Inter play out a 1-1 draw. Jules joins us, and as does Alexis Nunes, of course, back on the balcony. Beautiful view behind us. Of course, Alexis, you've been the last couple of days talking about everything that was going on and off the pitch leading up to this opening game in the Club World Cup. Was it success in the end?
You know what, Dan? I would say it is. It kind of felt like much ado about nothing, all the doom and gloom headlines heading into this opener, because in the end, the capacity of the Hard Rock Stadium is about just over 65,000, and the official number from FIFA in attendance last night was 61,000. So if I get my maths correctly, which is not really my strong point, that's about 93% full. Now, when we did arrive, which was a bit late because we did have to battle traffic and parking, so it was pretty close to kickoff just when the players were coming out, I did look around, and I think the thing that took me aback was the amount of empty seats. And I remember thinking, oof, if this is how the game is going to be, then it is definitely not a good look. But definitely towards halftime and the second half, the seats filled out beautifully. There was such a roar in the stadium. And even though we thought that we were going to feel the presence of the Inter Miami faithful, we do know that there's a strong Latin American stronghold in that Miami-Dade County area. We saw it last year in the Copa America final with Colombia and Argentina. I think that area is mainly Haitian, Cuban, and Colombian, so we were expecting a lot of them to come out. But really what took me aback was the amount of Egyptian fans that turned out. There were Mo Salah shirts for miles. There was a sea of red. Their ultras came out. They had the big banners. They had some drums. They were the ones that really brought the vibes. A lot of the fans that were sitting near us actually even said that they felt like they were playing a game in Cairo. So Inter Miami, even though they were hosts, they definitely were outnumbered by the Ahly fans. And in the end, unfortunately, it was a stalemate. Everyone was hoping for some Messi magic. He's the one that got all the fans out of their seats. But still, in the end, I would say it was a successful night for the opening game.
In the end, a draw, maybe slightly harsh on our Ahly, Alexis?
Yeah, massively harsh, I think, because even Javier Mascherano said it after the game. He thought that Inter Miami were too nervous and respected their opponent too much in the first half. Ahly just kind of came out of the blocks and were absolutely trying to pepper the goal. They kept shooting it straight to the keeper, but I remember we were sat there thinking, ooh, this could be a long night for Inter Miami, and once again, they're going to have to rely on some Lionel Messi magic, which, of course, it could have come. We saw some of those shots. We saw the free kick as well, but I think Ahly definitely wanted to show everyone that even though they may not be familiar with them, they are to be reckoned with in this tournament. They're, I think, 45-time Egyptian champions. They've won the African Champions League about 12 times. So they definitely would have gone into this game as slight favorites, knowing that Inter Miami had a lot of defensive issues. They were without the likes of Yannick Brack, Jordi Alba as well. Mascherano talked about how he had to shuffle his back line a lot. So I think they would feel a bit hard done that they didn't take advantage of Inter Miami to get a win, especially in that first half when they had them on the ropes.
An important start, though, for this tournament overall, Jules, as you mentioned, about PSG and Bayern Munich taking it seriously. The fact that you did have a good crowd and you did have an entertaining game.
Yeah, I think that the crowd I thought would be there, even if at the end they probably gave some tickets for free away to people around the stadium, which is fine. And that's why probably, like Alexis said, some people arrived quite late. But it was more the quality of the football that I think a lot of people were waiting to see between two teams that we don't expect to go really far. Even into Miami, they were not good. They're not good tactically. Ahly were a much better team overall, much better tactically, with more cohesion in their team. They've got a lot of international from Egypt, for example, some really experienced players there. So, but it was the quality we wanted and the spectacle, and we got that because the penalty missed, because some chances, because there should have been a red card, for Aviles that was not given by the referee in that first half. It could have changed the game and should have changed the game completely. The ref cam that got a lot of people excited. I thought it was cool, but maybe not that exciting. But still, some people got really excited. So there was a lot of really positive, really. And I think that's good. That was the perfect way to kick on the tournament.
And what's up next for you, Alexis? Is this your base now for the whole tournament, this balcony?
This balcony is my base, at least for another week. We're waiting to hear from our big boss, Steve, to see when we do need to move. But tomorrow I'm off back to Orlando, the most magical place on earth, because we have a date with Bayern Munich. We're going to get to finally talk to them after that 10-0 thrashing of Auckland City. Word is I'm going to get to speak to the new signing, Jonathan Tah, as well as Serge Gnabry, who was in the headlines, but it looks like he's pledged his future to Bayern. Se queda, however you say that in German, I'm going to find out.
Good.